Ladies and gentlemen, and everybody here, welcome to the Roundhouse Poetry Slam Final 2018! Yes, wow, there's so many of you. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Jack Rooke. I'm going to host this evening. Thank you so much for having me. Can we have a final round of applause for yourselves for coming here instead of the England match? Well done for supporting the words tonight. I am going to be brutally honest with you. I will be giving you updates throughout the evening. Right now, we're on 0-0. Nobody get too excited. As soon as the first goal's done, there'll be bar. Everyone to the bar. Perfect. And do we have any Belgians in the room? Great, perfect. Oh, we had a yeah. Do you know what? I will side with you for the first 20 minutes, depending on how it goes. Perfect. This is the 12th year of the Roundhouse Poetry Slam, which is phenomenal that we've got to the 12th year of this. Yes, that definitely deserves a round of applause. So far, there have been 4 heats as part of the Last Word Festival. 3 of these have happened at the Roundhouse in London, and for the first time, the slam spread to the west of England, and we had 1 slam in Gloucester, the winner of which has travelled tonight, which is great. Without further ado, I'm going to bring them on. I'd like the warmest, most loving response, because some of them are a couple nervous, some of them absolute pros. Can we please give it up for our 13 Roundhouse Poetry Slam finalists? Come on up, guys. Got Harry Kane, John Stones, no. Brilliant. I think 13 is a record as well. It's like the most we've ever had. They're all phenomenal. The winner of tonight's slam will win a limited edition print signed of the Roundhouse, as well as £500 to go towards their creative endeavours. And we have to thank Colin and Helen David, who have supported the Poetry Slam since before I did it. Thank you, they're over here somewhere, who have continuously supported this, support people with bursaries so that they can come and compete. So we're very chuffed to have you guys in the building. And then, the people who are going to be deciding, we have 3 judges. We have 3 of not only Britain's finest poets, we have 3 of the world's finest. We have the wonderful Cecilia Knapp. Cecilia used to be a Roundhouse resident artist, is a very acclaimed poet, is actually doing her 2nd full-length spoken word theatre show tomorrow night here called Losing the Night. Grab it. Is it sold out, Cecilia? 10 tickets left. Get on the website after this. Then we have our other brilliant judge, Yomi Sode. Yomi runs the boxed-in open mic night. Every time Yomi does a show at the Roundhouse, it sells out in about 3 minutes. It's amazing. And then from across the pond, we have the headliner of the Last Word Festival. He is a slam poet pioneer. Can we please give it up for the brilliant Saul Williams? And Saul is on Saturday night closing the Last Word Festival. And then, last but not least, actually we've got 2 people that can we give it up for our DJ? I don't know where she's gone, but she played at the beginning, the brilliant DJ Nikki Logan, who's going to be back throughout. And then we have my dear friend, who I have done a couple of gigs with now. But we're kind of like the new Anton Deck, I'd like to think. My name's Jack, and this is the wonderful Jackie Beckford. Jack and Jackie, we're going to be hoping everything's okay. So, I'm going to read out the rules. It doesn't take a genius to work out that the top score will win. That is the first rule of the Roundhouse Poetry Slam final. If there is a tie, it will be up to the judges to decide on the overall winner. And this is to my poets. If any of you guys go over 4 minutes, unfortunately, I will have to stop you. They have all been briefed on this, that all poems will be 3 minutes each. If it gets to 4 minutes, I'm going to kind of awkwardly creep on from there and be like a really embarrassed uncle. And yeah, there's no props, no backing music. It is them, this microphone, and the words. Are you guys ready? Amazing. So, we're going to kick off. I almost want to get almost like a hype girl. What's your name down there? Hello. Jamie, are you okay to be my hype girl? Are you up for that? Brilliant. Okay, Jamie. So what I'd like you to do is we're going to start down here. We're going to start off a round of applause. We'll do a kind of like polite Radio 4 poetry applause. Sort of, oh, lovely words, lovely. Polite applause. Then we're getting to this middle section here. And then I want a kind of Radio 2, slap the knee, Graceland is on, it's a Sunday. And then at the back, pirate radio, scream, go mad, do whatever you want, as long as it's not violent. Are we ready? Cool, right. Start off the clap. Perfect, perfect. Spread back. Some louder snap, and now some whoops and hollers from the back. So you give it up for our first poet, the brilliant Ellen Renton!
This is called Universal Script Planning in the Writer's Room. The accident will happen soon enough that we just taste his prime before it sours. Bad news will be tar in the camera. The sound will go funny, underwater. The accident will only be spoken of under cloak of cough. He will get angry once. They will be at home. Wife will dustpan and brush the chaos, then cradle his head childlike. The actor will not be too handsome. This could happen to anyone. There will be no paperwork and no physical pain because this is a powerful and uplifting film about what it truly means to be human. There will be nice people who offer sessions with chairs in a circle. He will try to crumple the leaflet. He doesn't need their new approaches. Friends won't have time to learn him all over again. They have lives and kids and holidays to take. A wife will stay lipsticked and loyal. She will only cry alone and not for the neighbors. He will never play the card. It will be too much to ask for things, so he will not talk about the asking. When people stare, he will ask wife why she stays, and she will say that she loved him before this hideousness, and tsunamis couldn't stop her. There will be a close-up, the pulse of pride in his throat. Words like miracle and special and hope. He will learn human truths about what it truly means to be human. Will realize that life had got in the way of all of the living of it. Will donate his old suits. He will cross the line or solve the problem or kiss the trophy and shake the hands of the friends who were too busy because life is short. The nice people will be there. They will know themselves as the true heroes. They saw the human in his foreign, but they'll let him have today. There will be a key change. He will succeed despite, be badged an inspiration, because doesn't it make you all, make you remember what the world made you forget, what it truly means. Thank you.
Give it up for the brilliant Ellen Renton. And now we welcome to the stage Suhaiymah Manzoor.
This one's called Diamond Rings and Bandages. Never ignore the first scream. It's not a false alarm. It's not an error or a glitch in the system. Our instincts are there for a reason. Never label them as insignificant. Never ignore the beast, even if it's just 10% of him. Because when things get bad, that's the only side he will see. I will never forget the night you heard his footsteps. You were so scared, you held on to my wrist, and I knew then the stronger the grip, the painful it is. Yet you wear diamond rings over bandages just to hide his savagery. You put doubt over facts and tolerate the smacks, not knowing if he's masculine or monstrous. But the clues in the bruise, the wallpaper wounds, you keep peeling loose. You've betrayed your angels for the sake of a demon. You were never his wifey, just his victim. And yet, you wait for him to repair things, but everything he tries to fix reminds you of how he broke it in the first place. Rose petals on the bedsheet sting to souvenirs he left on your skin, trying to cover up those bloody handprints when you try to get away from him. One day, you're in a hurry to leave, in a hurry to have had enough, in a hurry to be packing your bags, but they aren't moving. It's more dangerous to leave than stay, so you're unpacking again. I mean, that smack wasn't as bad as the last, so maybe he's trying to change? So you start coming back more than you left him. But to him it translates, this is the last time I'm getting beat by you, so do your best. Like a dirty Fed punching up these teenage kids, I'll use my fists if my authority slips. Here's an uppercut to make sure you got the message. No reflex skills, because it's worse when you deflect it. And the best bit is, I know how to get away with it. Mention a few childhood classics of how I had women trouble and how I'm very insecure, how my daddy beat my mama, which caused a little trauma. Long story short, it's not really my fault, and I know that's not an excuse to mistreat you, but it's better than admitting it was a problem of my morals more than what I went through. See, to keep control of myself, I need to control you. But if you really want an apology, I'm sorry for these boxers' hands, how I mistook you for a punching bag. I am sorry that I hit you. But I'm not sorry that I enjoyed it. But hey, leave the crime scene in the bedroom as long as it doesn't reach my child. I mean, you can't tell a 5-year-old you've been beaten for 6 hours straight. He'll be confused. Like, how's he hugging the same man that abused his mum? See, what created this monster in the first place is exactly what your child is exposed to now. Elizabeth Azevedo, one of my favorite poets, once said, I can't trust the world to teach sons how to treat a lady. I can't wait for a man to realize the respect a woman deserves until he has had a daughter. My daughter will not have to worry about what days she will love her man or what days she will fear him, nor will she have to worry about which sides of him will visit that day. My daughter will not endure, because my grandmother did not endure for us to keep enduring. My daughter will not be killed by her lover, nor will she be one of his serial survivors. Thank you.
Give it up for Shifa. We now welcome to the stage Katie Greenall.
Today, this hollow-hearted city is ours. Even the tube map fits the theme. Central Line, the Overground, Circle, District, Piccadilly, Metropolitan. I store the colours under my tongue, so I have no choice but to swallow shame and lick my lips with pride. I suck back ambiguous drinks to vaccinate me from myself, and I cover my bulbous body in glitter that's harder to get rid of than herpes. The sun shines, and it makes the pavements gold with possibilities. I skip down them as if I'm actually fucking Dorothy. There is no place like home, and today my city finally feels that way. A syrupy day turns to a salty sunset, so I store the nighttime in my cheeks and slumber in my nose because I'm not ready to sacrifice my kingdom to sleep just yet. So we head to our next destination, and as we do, we slip on the banners only the right kind of gaze can hold, and we trip over letters ostracized from the acronym, and we choke on catchphrases appropriated out of our control. We walk past the glass fronts of flagship stores that go back to revealing their true intention of not providing safe changing rooms, instead just advocating real change for the month where it's in fashion. But soon, the corporate bunting hung together with temporary tolerance is replaced by a cacophony of guilty beats that tempt me into the arteries of sticky floors and the capillaries of bar stools that stop our city from sinking. Once inside, our mismatched bodies can safely tessellate. Elbows into earlobes, knees into gums, a party dance of protest. Our fists beat our chest as we pledge allegiance to our queens, whilst our jaws and hips stir the sweet soup of our collective queer trauma. And that's when I see you. Soft fingers sharpening the edges of your eyeliner. Your lips are glossy and red, like my forehead. But my wide eyes can't help but swallow you whole. The right corner of your mouth flicks me an invitation which my raised eyebrows accept, and I navigate my way towards you. My path lit only by the memories of our ancestors that danced before us, this day, this night, this moment lit only by the memories of our forgotten ancestors that fought for us. We touch. Soft bodies molding into each other, smoothing out our jagged edges until it's shoulders into chins, thighs into thumbs, lips into lips. And as our tangled bodies move from backdrops of graffiti and grout to bus stops and doubt, I realized that today this hollow-hearted city was ours. And as long as our queer fingers can feel the weight of each other, I will not give it back.
Give it up for the brilliant Katie Greenall. And now welcome to the stage, Beth Calverley.
When Nanny was a girl, baddies were seen and not heard. Disaster slipped from ships to streets, her father's visits bittersweet, bottled by his pockets. Pigeonhole fists stuffed like sockets. No one to cork his madness or let it spill over specialists, for the 40s were a story read from ration books, tight beyond their time. When she was a girl, baddies were second-hand shoes, stares that pinched and pity in pigtails. There were cancer and her mother's cobbled courage. Bellies empty on bad days, rumbled hope on good ones. Somehow, she raised her sister on strength's legacy left when love that birthed them stopped. Fostered by scorn in homes that hit back every time their hearts beat. Magic, in veins that pulse with this rhythm, learned to turn smash into anything, even meat pie. She served this empty cupboard magic to hungry daughters when a second severed voice fed on legends of a better ending left her reading stories she never rationed at bedtime. Years later, when those daughters fessed to seeing therapists, her eyes were clenching fists, a girl again hiding from baddies. The ones in cupboards under beds she knew were there, but she would never shame the monsters in her head or hear their names in faces made like hers. And still, her heart leaped loud enough to pump the world to popping point. Hugs like lungs of friendly giants breathing dreams. Her third deserter kept his word to cancer over wedding vows. This one didn't mean to leave, but he was gone. A hand beside her in the cinema. Favorite replays on a faded screen. With him, she'd been young, in new shoes, off to see the pictures. At the funeral, she found notes stuffed in sockets, uncorked at the coffin, death of rationing, spilling all of it. And recently, she told me that she's tasted therapy, better than she's ever been, despite his empty seat, despite his pronoun kissing every sentence of her life. Only now, in modern grief, can she be free. For when she was a girl, baddies lived in cupboards and under beds, not in heads. Back then, baddies looked a lot like they're starting to. Ration book monsters, fit for work defeat washing up on riverbanks, madness moved from street to street. These modern day replays bottle our stories, corking all griefs except the ones that feed our shadows. So we must make certain that help will never again be a balm granted only when we've suffered long enough to earn it.
Give it up for Beth Calverley. And now welcome to the stage, Fatima Zahra.
This poem is for all the third world kids out there. Here's to the ones that waltz into this world with suitcases, the ones with more stamps on their passport than fingers or toes, the ones whose hearts will always be in a three-way tie between places, the ones who've learned early to pack all your memories, clothes, and goodbyes into 23 kilograms and cabin baggage. You are a dossier of every last place you fell in love with. So you are the Lebanese diner next to the first house that watched you bruise your knees. You are the rickety swing in the backyard of your granddad's house in Kerala. You are every bridge across the Thames and the people crossing it. You, with your hummus-loving heart and your dancing tongue that lifts, twists, and settles 3 languages, but trembles at any mention of home, Beit, Ghar. This is for the third world kids, the ones that watch home become a speck from a plane window, the ones whose life plays out like an episode of Dora on repeat, always searching, never settling. Your sense of belonging will jump off the first plane that airlifts you to a new beginning. You will spend years looking for her. Instead, you will find comfort in a supermarket aisle, in a stranger's heated conversation on the train, in the first bite of your mother's food. And you will learn to trust in your own 2 feet that'll never learn to stay still, but will always take you just where you need to be. So here's to you, you with no land to your name, you creatures of the ocean, children of gypsy dreamers. Here's to the third world kids. Here is your suitcase. In here is a black and white photograph of a granddad that lent you his button nose and head of curls. In here is every last goodbye from a friend that is now a thumbtack on a world map. In here is a life quest from your parents' prayers, and in here are your dreams for a compass. You will bloom where you are planted. That is what you do best.
Give it up for Fatima Zahra. And now welcome to the stage, Roper.
This is called We the Millennials. Death was the fertilizer in the soil, and sweat was the rain. Off the backs of blood and pain, our seeds were allowed to germinate. But what do we have to show but fear of the unknown? It used to be a sin to love someone of different skin. Heterosexuality wasn't just normality, but the only absolute truth. A road to marriage was the only route. Back in that time, people died for the ones that they wanted to lay with at night. But now, casual sex is what's expected. The market must be tried and tested. Otherwise, have you really lived life? Will one type of fish really suffice? I mean, really? For the rest of your life? We are conditioned to be soulmate blind just because someone isn't our type. Tinder is the #1 dating app, but people get thrown off balance when it's used exactly for that. But I'll be your Tinderella for tonight, I whisper in your ear. Let's write our own fairy tale drunk on drugs and beer. And who said that the romance was dead? I mean, if you've got the good, we could do it again. But if you've got the good, maybe not. You'll catch feelings instead. So when they leave, it's just you alone, breathing in that sex cologne, already craving for the next one. Oh, this is just normal fun. But in reality, we all fucking hate it, even though this we're afraid to admit, just waiting for the one that makes us commit. But when we do find that one, we're too busy playing games, too afraid to dance within the flames, already craving for the next best thing. And when we find them, we only want to fling. Such an endless, pointless game we've made. Too proud to quit, so we maintain the facade. Crusaders died for the rights we take and don't recognize. How can the generation of free knowledge be so unwise? So we, the millennials, why are we this way? Forever second-guessing, forever so unhappy, yet so afraid. Yes, we are the millennials, and this is our way. Loneliness and self-deprecation will be our legacy. Thank you.
Give it up to Roper. And now please welcome to the stage, Chloe Florence.
Shove it in your mouth. Go on. I know you want it. Why'd you dress like that if you didn't want it? Have you got a man though? You need one. You haven't tried this dick. How do you know you're gay if you haven't tried it? If you've tried it, you must at least be bisexual. Just doing it to turn me on, yeah? Too ugly to get a man, yeah? My sexuality should not have been a defense mechanism. Bang! Shove it in your mouth. Shall I pull the trigger? Is it my turn to pull the trigger? Do I finally have the same power now? A gun in your mouth is the world's only answer to equality, because guns are the gateway to death and hatred, but a gun is the only possession a woman could own that might question a slug's possession of her pink-curled femme. For his eyes know nothing of her as a human, just the pronoun of stereotypes, assumptions, and delusions that keeps us in boxes. My gun in your mouth is the world's only answer to equality, because a gun is the only possession I could earn that might question a man's possession of me. A man's need for poverty and creating a hypocrisy of selfish, unbalanced evils based on what's between our legs mean that self-love and #MeToo are just another Insta-fad that promotes change, but things stay the same as it forces our mouths shut. Because my words don't mean a single thing. It would mean more for me to wear a wedding ring, because then you'd assume I was another man's possession. But my words don't even provoke questions. And a kiss on the lips to a girl I love is a pleasure you think we must do for your fun. My gun in your mouth is the world's only answer to equality, because your life at stake is the only thing that would force you to wake up and listen. But I'd go to jail for that, wouldn't I? But you wouldn't go to jail for putting your weapon inside of me, because in 90% of cases, a woman's word has no power against a man who is guilty and he walks free. And not included is the majority that still go unreported and do not make it to trial. Women are being denied their voices. Women who speak up against violations are being silenced by money. Their mouths are being forced shut by the very man who force-fed them his cock. And your cock in a woman's mouth is the world's only answer given to poverty, because not only are women being forced to apologize to their abusers or pay thousands of pounds for their voice, but around the world, a blowjob is the only power a woman's mouth has. It doesn't matter if you're a crack addict or wearing a hijab, our sexualized bodies are the only answer ever given to poverty. And my gun in your mouth is the world's only answer to equality. The only way to achieve this is illegal, can't you see? My voice is not a power that belongs to me. My mouth only has power as a piece of meat, so don't you dare tell me we're anywhere closer to equality.
Give it up to Chloe Florence. And now welcome to the stage, Courtney Conrad.
Tourism brochures put a muzzle on my island suffering. Though scenic landscapes and rich culture are not a figment of one's imagination, corruption stifles public welfare. Struggle has been ingrained in our black, gold, and green. Passports obstruct opportunities to cross holy waters that could heal. So when Mama said she was moving to England, it sounded as though she had won the lottery. I've never seen a going away party organized so quickly to celebrate Mama becoming a personal ATM overnight. It wasn't even 24 hours since Mama's feet touched new soil. Everyone began tugging to give her an earful. Opening remarks always began with, boy, things are done, ya beg ya little money no? She tells them life over here is no praise dance. They kiss their teeth. The frustration clings to her hair. She swallows her pride, wires the money with traces of her sweat, and picks up an extra shift. I can see everyone's wish list held beneath her eyes. She no longer posts on Facebook where everyone documents her prosperity, is far too tired of blows rippling across the waters, catching the corners of her mouth each time she tries to justify herself. Mama receives no commissions for her services. Not once has pen touched paper to express gratitude. I am tired of Mama putting relatives on pedestals and diluting her needs with each transaction, but blood ties. Mama says if me eat, everybody have to eat. To be family is to stretch hands over oceans, to share blessings. It is to unfold tongue and say, I will love you through hardship. But sometimes I worry. You see, I look at Mama's palms and I see the scars go unhealed as everyone continues to dig. I see the fear tucked in between her frown lines, uncertain of what withholding might mean. You see, where we are from, envy is the mother of murder that hounds migrants. Money turns blood sour. So to the migrants who still send remittances home, you are the true national heroes.
Give it up for Courtney Conrad. And now welcome to the stage, Reese Lyons.
I am a woman, and I have a penis. The correct terminology is transgender woman, although nowadays I usually just go by tranny. And every time that happens, I think to myself, what was it about me that gave me away? Was it my height? Because I forget, you're not used to being confronted with that many 6-foot-tall women in real life, are you? I mean, aside from supermodels who you see on runways, but they don't exist in your everyday today. Or maybe now that I'm speaking, it's my voice. Does she have a cold? Did she lose it? It's the up-down glances from people staring at my throat as I speak, as if my Adam's apple is a piece of forbidden fruit. I think to myself, maybe it's my hands, or maybe it's my body hair. Maybe it's my eyebrows, maybe it's my jawline, maybe it's my aquiline nose, maybe it's just my sheer lack of tits. Or maybe it's my flawlessly applied makeup, because let's be honest, none of your exes looked as good as this. Because I'm only ever going to be beautiful when I am convincing to you. When I have successfully made myself small enough, quieter enough, and acceptable enough for you to perceive me as a quote-unquote real woman. I refuse to be small. Instead, I will take up space in between the staring and the polite smiles. The mother who, when she sees me, stops me coming near her child because she is infected with fear because of journalists like Jermaine Greer. I will fill the silence in between what is thought and what is said. The right-wing press who convinced this society that I am a rapist in a dress because I am a liar, an imitation, a fraud, a parasite feasting off my own flesh. I will represent the distance between the first brick being thrown and a riot outbreaking of all the women who have come before me, who laid down their lives for taking, Sylvia Rivera, Marsha P. Johnson, and with bloodshed hands, you now used to identify me as a culprit and as the tranny that I am. The future is not female. The future is intersectional. The future is black. The future is trans. The future is non-binary. The future is lesbian women. The future is disabled women. The future is Muslim women. The future are sex workers. We are the future. Support women who you don't know. Support women who you aren't sexually attracted to. Support women who you aren't related to. Support women who don't meet or match your expectations or ideals of what a woman is or what a woman should be. I am a woman, and I have a penis.
Give it up for Reese Lyons. And now please welcome to the stage, Makeda.
They keep sending us back. Behind something we can't see, gone, dead, something invisible. Sometimes going back isn't going back, it's moving forward in a different direction. So in the future, they keep sending us back. Hi, I'm from the future, by the way, 2056. Nice to meet you. I'm from the future. I'm from the future, and I'm here to tell you about the future. 2056, 32 years from now, or I don't know, 56, take away 18. Yeah, I'm not really good at math. So basically, I normally have my Google Lens and them in my eyes, and normally you put them in your eyes and you blink 3 times and everything goes white. And I forgot to put them in today. That's why I'm forgetting what I'm saying. But basically, I'm here to tell you about the future. And basically, the future is good. It's nice. And you know, like. I mean, it's not that different. So the population is healthy. You know, World War III wiped out like 3 billion people. So yeah, but NHS is doing well, very well staffed. Air pollution is low. Rivers are clean. Theresa May is on life support, but everything is really well, to be honest. You know. Here's actually, I'm not sure. You know, I don't know if you would have guessed, but so in the future, nobody shaves their legs. In the future, the entire human population is fitted with compulsory system regulation chips in our spines, and it's really cool. It's connected to this app on our phone where you get to do really cool things like control your hair growth, and there's this little button called iGrow, and you can switch it on if you want your hair to grow and off if you don't, but nobody ever switches it on though. Except for the feminists. But yeah, the chip is pretty cool. You get to do loads of cool things, like you can control the temperature, you can control how cool or warm you're feeling, and my favorite part is you get to control your senses, like your smell, taste, sight, and all of that. But you know, the future is not always that great. In the future, young people still heavily use expletives. Swearing is a preliminary ritual to unite our tongues where politics divide us. In the future, politics is still real. In the future, nobody knows what real is anymore, but in the future, everybody does know who Ahmadis are. I'm an Ahmadi. Most of you have probably never heard of that. In the future, my uncle who was killed in 2000 from a bullet to the chest because he was Ahmadi is still dead. In the future, the dead are still dead. In the future, Tamir Rice, Eric Garner, Terence, Sandra Bland, Michael Brown, Mark Duggan, the Syrians, the Rohingyans, and everybody else that was ever killed for something they are or something they believe are still dead. In the future, they keep sending us back. In the future, all my relatives that were murdered for being Ahmadi are still dead. In the future, we don't still know where exactly the bullet hit my uncle, and nobody wants to go back and check. In the future, they keep sending us back. They keep sending us back. They keep sending us back, so we can come and tell you that in the future, the dead are still dead.
Give it up for Makeda. And will you now please give it up for our next poet? Let's have a big round of applause for the brilliant Madeleine Acalia.
I ran away from the rainbow city with a pot plant and biodegradable glitter and was immediately disappointed. Raised eyebrows deliberated my departure through the discussion of motorway developments and accessibility to London. Like I moved to a city that wasn't London just to be close to it, to be within a convenient radius, off-peak travel cards, yet autonomous. I moved to West Earlham in 2017. Upon arrival, we passed a sign which read, Norwich, a fine city. And I can't help but think that fine isn't the most celebratory adjective. Fine is tomato pasta and weak tea, drizzle and crackers without cheese. Our landlord found our furniture on the street. The varnish is coming off the living room table and the shed doesn't have any windows, but its charm stole our bottle openers and taught us how to wait. We embraced the lurid green sofas and drenched ourselves in the blaze and crackle of the sunsets and their quiet glory. 2 streets away, A4 printouts stick to charcoal lampposts, telling students to have respect amid their alcoholism, judgment peels from the paintwork of parked cars, term time gentrification in the form of Fiat 500s and Carlsberg cans in front gardens, forgotten remnants of renting and love and passage, lines of growth on a height chart, stretch marks. We were growing and changing and becoming people, and I don't blame our neighbours for hating us. Brighton was 18 months behind me now, and I was all out of glitter. But I didn't seem to need it here. Our university ranked 18th in the Guardian's National League tables and 149th in the world. A statistic which does somehow lose impact with its optimism and top 150 claims. Our campus is an arena of paving stones in cliché, neon alcohol in plastic bottles, lukewarm chips in cardboard tubs, earnest signs about recycling and equality and zero tolerance policies, whilst our vice-chancellor sits in an office raking in a 6-figure salary. We separate plastic from paper, peeling the skins of sandwich boxes into separate bins. We're meant to be changing the world here. Bathing in Tesco finest wine, high on the skeleton of our youth, debt creeping up our spines like hesitant ghosts, politics bloating the wallpapers, stasis clogging the drains. I will love this place until we fall into the ocean and drip off the side of the world. But I won't stay.
Give it up for Madeleine Acalia. And now please welcome to the stage, Rakea Fatuga.
Pundo, after a funeral. The mother of our 4 generations steps out onto the orange path as herons grace lagoons spilled with sunset. She carries decades of wisdom in her patterned drapery. Looking in her eyes is looking into me. Don't cry, she says. Just pray. Every day could be our last day, and we live breathing in the echo of the words we say. She takes my hand, though she must not remember me, a child of Elsie's Elsie, but I love her through the ropes of legacy. I love her like the song of destiny has called me here to her line. Mourn quick, then smile, because the slot for life is fine. Time pockets our chances with every beat of a heart. We might drop out of this world before we learn who we are. Our mother shines. Our mother knows that we are vast and holy homes, and there are diamonds in the floorboards of our souls. Accra, after a celebration. Green skin coconut that brims sweet water like an eye resolved to hold its tears. Green, not brown, because there is more than one stage of coconut. In Nima, I stand by the coconut cart, lips to its open eye. They don't have straws like they do in Osu, Oxford Street, a road as congested as London, Oxford Street, where a coconut is a £4.50 event. marked with a selfie pouting African lips for the gram. A tourist experience for the city dwellers. But I'm a tourist in this city too, gulping down coconut water, drinking in every sight and sense of Accra because we only have a week this time. And if the country doesn't drip down my chin, I'm afraid I might forget where I came from. When I'm done and the cool fruit has cried down my throat, I hand the coconut back to the young man, whose nose doesn't point at mine but spreads to hug his cheekbones, and I say, Madasi wai, Madasi. That's all. Because when it comes to Chui and Ewe, each apple fell a little further from the tree. In Yoruba, we have only pips, stalks, and wide eyes. He hacks the coconut apart, broken in 3, Ghana, Nigeria, Britain. And I use one country to scoop the flesh out of another, and I eat so full of coconut, that I must be an eye, resolved to hold its tears, so full of place, yet still irksomely hungry.
Give it up for Rakea Fatuga. And now our final poet of the first half, the brilliant Honey Birch.
The struggles of being a Chinese kid in a white family. But she's not your real mum, is she? Where are you actually from? Say something Chinese. Oh, I know. Say something Japanese. 'Cause I'm honey-colored, I've got chocolate eyes. Mum's more white bread, crust cough at the side. She's got blueberry eyes. And Jessica, well, Jessica, she's more like Mum. Extra thick white sliced Warburton's homemade. I'm whole grain. But Jessica, she can't seem to see how a honey-colored girl like me ends up in a mayonnaise-type family. So naturally, logically, she's not my real mum. Because like everything else, there's no in-between. I'm either too white or I'm too Chinese. I use chopsticks once, they call me Buddha. Please, I'm Szechuan and I'm salt and pepper. I use both seasonings on my dinner. Who are you to tell me who I am? I don't even know who I am. But 5-year-old me, well, she didn't know any better. After what Jessica said, she couldn't forget how her honey-colored skin felt too sweet. Chocolate eyes, licorice hair, too much of a good thing makes you obese. And 6-year-old me, well, she got asked questions. Questions from curious classmates and side-eyed glances, kids craning their craniums, failing to conceal confused faces following questions unanswered. And 7-year-old me couldn't help but feel disheartened because us Asians, yeah, well, we're meant to be smarter. Except it didn't quite add up. I was stuck in Chinese handcuffs, pulling and pushing and twisting to fit in, but the boxes I was trying to tick kept getting smaller, and the harder I pulled, the harder I tried, the more I was sure I was just the wrong order. I was 2 when I said my first words. Words that turned too sour too fast, too angry to calm down because no one wants burnt toast when white bread's still around. Except you. Because you, well, you made honey sandwiches out of warm hugs after tantrums. And you flew me to the moon and back for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And you have a sweet tooth made for sweet spreads on white bread. And who said we had to color inside of the lines? What if I want to taste more than one thing at a time? Because my skin is honey-colored, my hair is licorice, my eyes are chocolate, my mum is white bread, blueberries with a fair head. I am a honey-colored teen, 17, adopted into a mayonnaise-type family. And I happen to like mayonnaise. Thank you very much.
And give it up for Honey Birch. And give it up for all 13 poets for reading their first piece in the slam final. Yes, honey. So that's the first half. You've seen all 13. They're a brilliant bunch, aren't they? I'm now going to split them in half just for the purposes of a little game. So these guys, you guys, are going to be Belgium. Give up for Belgium. And these guys here, these guys are going to be England, okay? We'll swap round. So we're 66 minutes into the game, just for anybody who is wondering. And I'm going to tap people up on the shoulder, and if you stand up, that represents the amount of goals that your team has got, okay? So can we have some sort of drum roll or some sort of, ooh. This is England, okay? This is Belgium. And that's Belgium done. That's Belgium. Belgium has scored 1, okay? Where's the Belgian man? Well done, okay? And let's restart the drum roll for England. I can't do it. We've not scored. We've not scored. Belgium are winning. Well done. Well done, Beth. Thank you for being Belgium. So that's bad news. That's bad news. But we're 66 minutes. There's still a long time left. Apparently, if we lose, we play somebody better. Who knows? It's all a weird game that costs a lot of money. I'm going to bring on one of our judges to now perform for us. He is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful poet. He's recently... Sorry, I'm just upset we're losing, but we got you. You're the tonic. You're the cure. He's recently been published by Oberon, shortlisted for the Jerwood Fellowship. He is a beast of the spoken word scene. Can we please give it up for the wonderful, brilliant Yomi Sode?
Easy. Oh, God. That's amazing, isn't it? Hello. Can we make some noise for our finalists, please, if that's all right? It's a pleasure. Hi, you all right? Everyone good? Wicked. Okay, so I'm just going to get straight into it. So I was recently commissioned by the good Inua Ellams and Teresa Lola of Right Party to write a response to the College Dropout and one specific song in the College Dropout. Everyone heard the College Dropout here? No? What track do you think he gave me? No one has heard the College Dropout. Liars. He gave me Jesus Walks. So, oh, now you know the College Dropout. So, yeah, this was the poem. Fatigued and a mouthful of babble, my son whispers, I love you, then rests his head on my chest, squeezing me long enough to birth a new fear for death. Summer 2015, knuckles clipped to my chin before I could think. I can't recall feeling like a father or a partner much at that point. I remember swinging blindly, feeling the pain of hitting teeth, translating give me the keys as run, all the while thinking, but I write poems. There were no stanzas in sight to save me, not in that darkness. Just pieces of fabric on a pavement, just this internal abruptness like a jerked needle scurrying across a vinyl. When that fear hits, when death stares at your face, how timely of you to remind me of what I'll lose in the process of acting a man out of me like a purging. There are many forms that death comes in, like 10. It was a car when I forgot to look right. I levitated and 3 seconds felt like a lifetime, counting each spin before the thud of concrete woke me out of slumber. Or 14, watching him park, open the boot, then walk towards us, baseball bat in hand. He wanted a body, it wasn't going to be mine, not that day, so we ran, catching each breath that left our lungs, and maybe you ran with us, ensuring my time wasn't then, even at 21, witnessing a brother die before our eyes. If only I could scoop the waterfall of blood gushing out. If I could fill him back up and pull the flaps of skin together to palm it all in, I would. We shared the same birthday and danced like fools that night for 30 minutes before it happened. Before the shard of glass vectored to a dead end of bone amidst the bass and sweat and weed and noise and people, and I was still staring at what death looked like. A time capsule of a black body, erect, twitching, alone, and silence. Did you know that he would die that night? That he would look at his downpour with vengeance in mind? You did not move me on that night. You made me watch to warn me, maybe, but you know I'm stupid enough to dive my body in a pool of sharks irresponsibly, that I might act out without thinking, that pride at my age means nothing when faced with steel that shines or lead that shoots out the shaft of guns held by idle boys with zero grays in their hats. or rent to pay, that every time she says, stop brandishing your phone on road at night, she really means you have a family now. You are not young, not free, so why invite death like a homecoming, like you are bigger than fate? It was snowing when fate arrived. Riding on a bike, then you turning through slush, shouting, what bruv? Continuously to the left side of my body. My music already on pause from the turn, a mannerism preempting the battle cry, what bruv? Fist clenched, what bruv? My legs spoke and I walked into oncoming traffic, walking away like some dickhead, like I'm scared, but I'm not scared. I'm vexed. I'm a big man being a bigger man. I'm hands up, apologizing to each horn thumped in my direction, feeling less man, less brave, but alive. Alive in knowing this visceral feeling of a tired squeeze. Alive to hear I love you, search through every and many facets in my black body. How that meant the world, a world I'm not quite ready to leave, not yet. You pushed me, didn't you? You walked with me that afternoon as you've always done, didn't you?
Give it up for the brilliant Yomi Sode. Wow, thanks, Yomi. So that concludes the first half of the Roundhouse Poetry Slam final. The poets are going to go back. We've got them some nibbles, some water. We're going to pump you up for the second half. Give it up for all the poets that you've seen, all 13 of them. And the brilliant Yomi Sode. We are going to come back in 15 minutes. You have 15 minutes, grab a drink, chat to a friend, and talk about how amazing these poets are. And we'll be back then. See you in a bit.
So that is a bourbon sour, and inside, ingredients picked especially for you. We've got the whiskey because the government is drunk on power, egg because Teresa's got egg on her face, a bit of bitters because currently the discourse is very bitter. You wanted to talk to me about Brexit then?
I mean, everybody wants to talk about Brexit, don't they? In some ways, it's the worst thing that's happened to the country in a good 20, 30 years, and in other ways it's like the greatest political revolution from the people that's occurred in 100 years. It's ridiculous. Like, I hate it, but it's like predominantly working class communities sticking a twos up to the status quo, and I think the Brexit vote demonstrates that. Unfortunately, I don't think anything good is going to come of the results.
It's strange, I mean, because as a child of an immigrant, on the one hand, yes, it's really complex, and on the other hand, it's quite black and white. The complexity is in the sense that it was pushed by both sides at some time, but Labour were very, very hard on immigration, just to show that they were hard on immigration.
So it's like a domino effect of people doing things to try to save their arse, and it's ended up in this, well, I can't say really, I was going to say cluster.
Quagmire. That's an old-fashioned, and I picked up because it takes time and patience and a lot of concentration to get right, much like any conversation with race.
I think, you know, race is a real funny one. I quite enjoy joking a lot about race. There are points like the fact that I will always be seen as a black woman even though half of me is white, but I will never be seen as a white woman. But actually there are really funny things like the fact that I had quite a lot of white friends, and whenever the black music would come on, they'd all look at me to dance. And actually, luckily, I knew how to dance.
Oh,
you know.
When you turned up at a party, everyone would be like, "Oh my God, thank God you're here! It was about to die. We needed some live. Okay, quick, play the hip hop,
exactly.
The black person."
But then, when they started playing like a little bit of like Fall Out Boy or something like that, I'd be like, "Don't worry, guys, my white side's going to come out now, and I know how to dance to this as well." You get the best of both worlds. You get the best of both worlds.
You felt like
simple.
Speaking about race from the point of view of a black woman, which you are, do you find that that there becomes any kind of friction because you're mixed race?
Yeah, definitely. There's a lot of, there's a really big conversation about that happening now actually, about colorism and where lighter skinned black women like me kind of should take a step back, or whether we should take a step back, and I definitely don't feel like it's something that should divide the black community. It's something that we should all kind of come together and go, yeah, you know, sometimes lighter skinned black people should take a step back. You know, there are a lot of darker skinned, amazing darker skinned black actresses who would probably be better for this role.
Even at gigs, I might say, oh, I'm Maria, I'm a poet from Essex, and the whole audience would go, Rooke.
See there, that is a pink lady. Some things are a lot more than the stereotypes. For example, Essex girls. Because I know the worst stereotypes when it comes to Nigerians, like 419, we're loud, we usually have more than one wife, and we usually have 2 phones.
English dictionary, right? Oxford English Dictionary, Essex girls in there. And the definition is a girl or young woman found in or around Essex, which is fair enough, I get that. And then it's materialistic, unintelligent, and sexually promiscuous.
When I was working in a few bars in the West End, what I noticed about a lot of Essex girls who came in groups was how protective they were of each other.
Like, I think because we have these stereotypes labelled against us, we stand together strong. I think Essex is a very specific place. I think it's very different from a lot of the south of England, and I love it. Even at gigs, I might say, oh, I'm Maria, I'm a poet from Essex, and the whole audience would go, Rooke.
See there, that is a pink lady. Some things are a lot more than the stereotypes. For example, Essex girls. Because I know the worst stereotypes when it comes to Nigerians, like 419, we're loud, we usually have more than one wife, and we usually have 2 phones.
English dictionary, right? Oxford English Dictionary, Essex girls in there. And the definition is a girl or young woman found in or around Essex, which is fair enough, I get that. And then it's materialistic, unintelligent, and sexually promiscuous.
When I was working in a few bars in the West End, what I noticed about a lot of Essex girls who came in groups was how protective they were of each other.
Like, I think because we have these stereotypes labelled against us, we stand together strong. I think Essex is a very specific place. I think it's very different from a lot of the south of England, and I love it.
People of the Roundhouse, take your seats and welcome back to the second half of the Roundhouse Poetry Slam Final 2018. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Jack Rooke, I'm your host, and we have next to me the wonderful BSL interpreter. Give it up for the brilliant Jackie Beckford! So, right, I'm just going to come out and say it. Some of you may know we are now on the 93rd minute of 92 minutes, which means that the game is over, and unfortunately, England have lost. Boo. However, I've just read something on Twitter about how apparently this is a good thing because we play so... people are nodding at me. Apparently, it's a good thing we've lost. So, give us a round of applause, I suppose. Great. However, tonight, we will have a winner. And they are one of 13 brilliant, amazing poets. So can we please welcome back to the stage the Roundhouse Poetry Slam finalists? Keep it going, there's 13 of them. There's more than ever before. I've lost my hype girl. Oh no, I've still got my hype girl. Thank you. So, these 13 poets, they're all going to perform for a second time another 3-minute poem, which will be judged by our 3 brilliant judges. And one of them is now going to come to the stage to perform a piece. She is a resident artist at the Roundhouse, or was one, and has come through the Roundhouse Poetry Collective and is now a fully fledged poetry supreme herself. So can we please have a huge round of applause for the wonderful Cecilia Knapp?
Good evening, everyone. You guys are amazing. I'm honestly in awe. Yes, give it up for the finalists. It's honestly such an honor to be one of the judges, and such a beautiful way to spend an evening listening to all this talent. In the spirit of vulnerability, I will do something new. This poem is called Brother. I often say your name out loud, more than once. A chant, a soft mantra. It catches me off guard. I let it spill from my mouth until I have to stop. Someone will hear. If you must haunt me, let it be like this. Your worn out, tired, old, useless name hanging from my lips. A name that has become night. A name become blood. Become a sharp question. And what has brother become? A wanting. A theory. It hits me in the throat at the strangest times, pillowcase half on, a Sunday ritual of clumsily changing the bed. My own hair, skin, sweat mocks me as I think of you, me, so alive. An image of your chipped tooth, your dry cheeks, and me kissing them, your shoulders swallowing up a room. How will you think of me when I am gone? You once asked me. Where do you think you're going? I said. Hot afternoon on the landing. Or was it stone dead night? I don't remember. Besides, it doesn't matter. All that matters is the way I threw my arms around your long neck like worship and pulled you close. Can we talk about how when we laughed together we sounded like we were one person, Leo? I am paralyzed by your name, crashing through my teeth, Leo, jumping from my tongue like an eager diver, Leo, never scared of free fall. Again and again, you tumble onto my new sheets or into the new day. You fold me in half.
Give it up for the brilliant Cecilia Knapp. And so, we are now going to kick off the second half of the Roundhouse Poetry Slam final. I'm going to come back to my hype girl. Was it Jamie? Jamie? I remembered. What can I say? Some people might call me a professional. Who knows? That sounded really narky. Sorry. I meant that in a... I was a dig to me, because I clearly haven't really dressed for the final. Apologies. Actually, I should probably say, I've hosted in the main space of the Roundhouse 3 times. Thank you. I'm a bad luck charm, though, because the first time was the night that Trump won. The second time was the hung parliament when Theresa bought Northern Ireland. And, yeah. And then, I feel like I've accidentally made it a lot more fiery in here than I meant to. And then the third time, England have lost, so, well... There we go. Thank you, sir. But yeah, so I actually, fuck me, really. Anyway, moving on. Jamie, it was you I was at, wasn't it? Thank you so much for coming this evening. Also, give yourselves a round of applause because so many gigs were cancelled tonight because of the football, and you guys came out. So yes. Right, keep that applause. Actually, let's keep it. Let's keep it. Whoops, hollers, cheers for the first time. Give it up for Honey Birch.
Miss Morton. Miss Morton was a river, flooding the 6th floor, swooping through doors and lifting us up, our chairs above our heads until she settled. Some days Miss Morton was a brook. Bubbling and bumbling, she bounced upon her office throne and demanded that we look a little harder, that we thought a little faster. She projected words upon a screen and asked us what we thought. She drew spider webs and fishing nets which washing lines extend. She wrote as if it kept her sane, as if the gurgle of a bathroom drain was near, as if our words would fall victim to the drip drip of a water tap, as if our words would fall victim bound towards an ocean, as if our words were our victims and she was scared we would flush them away. She was scared we would be wordless. She was scared we would be... Some days, Miss Morton was a crash. Froth left in her coffee cup was the only evidence she'd stopped by, but again she rose upright, an impossible force again. I remember once she danced. Spinning and reading, reading and spinning. We watched as the headmistress walked in. We watched as she span a story into the anthology we so despised. We watched as she span a story to the headmistress. Yes, miss, I do have a spare copy of Animal Farm. Yes, miss, no, I was not impersonating a river. Have a good day, miss. Some days, Miss Morton was the rain. Woke us up with light showers in the morning and then hit us with a downpour. Threatened us with a drought or a detention slip, but never really followed through on it. Always gave us enough to fill a glass half full, but never enough to douse the flames. And I was sure, well, we'd always be okay because Miss Morton was our river, flooding the 6th floor, swooping through doors and forging a path. And if you stick to a river's edge, it's not hard to find your way home. Thank you.
Give it up for Honey Birch. And now please welcome to the stage, Rakaya Fatuga. Rakaya Fatuga. Woo, woo, woo.
Box. I am the bougie plantain skewers and sweet chili dip chicks. The 3rd generation, more lost than the 2nd, but free enough to write poems about it. I am the girls who wear Ankara head wraps to work that dazzle Jane and Paul from HR. I'm the black girls who have never seen African soil, have never run on golden sand. And I'm the girls who go back home all the time, the ones who basically live there too. The African village girls, the African city girls, the African queen of a town in Kumasi as big as Harlesden girls. I'm the natural hair movement sisters, the Bantu not flat twisters, the Afro is versatile, relax and weave, the I paid for this hair so it's mine, best believe. I'm the don't touch my hair. I'm the whip it back and forth in my living room, hijab in the street honeys. I'm the melanin mummies. I'm the fuse and whiz kid shocky shakers. The rock and K-pop fans. The showing off but it's all right Drakers. I'm the music is harams. I'm the post-colonial studies, the gotta make that money monies, the black business, black love, black girl magic, black don't crack chanters. I'm the do I still count as black African girls, the my parents are African, I'm British girls. I'm the lost my mother tongue in a burgundy book. A Brexit softback that is changing its color. This country changes its colors to us every season, rejecting its own children. Us apple crumble super malt sippers, us silver hoop socks and slippers, us multi-heritage, polyglot, us loud, us feisty, us sassy, us not. Us who tick black, British, African, a square smaller than a fingernail that our persons are layered into. I am just trying to pull back the delicate skin of that like an onion to find out what's inside. This one bulb of the earth will make thousands of recipes. Thank you.
Give it up for Rakaya Fatuga. And now please welcome to the stage, Madeleine Akalia.
2 years ago, we pulled into a lay-by somewhere in New Zealand and promptly began to cry. Her mum was sick again. Remission was a balloon they'd been batting off the floor for years, and here we stared out at a mountain that no one has ever given a shit about and tried to comprehend cruelty. She ranted about atheism like her gospel, and we dipped our feet into a holy water that's Bible was our need. She stroked my hair as my cheeks became lined with a trauma that's hard to capture in verse, but resembles a dissected butterfly, caged but still living somehow, despite all of it. Her trauma had edges, which is not to say the mountain saw it differently. It was a wine bottle that sat on a tall shelf and became an ornament out of neglect. We grew up outside the trendy part of town, stealing apples and wet kisses, neither of us knowing what escape meant. The miles were meant to make us someone else, but somehow our skin had clung on. Nails dug into themselves and burrowed their greatest rebellion. When we arrived here, we expected things. Hired a car when I could barely drive and played James Bay like that was going to help anything. We would sing last year's hits whilst eating peanut butter from the tub. This was our rebellion. Sometimes I found myself staring at her. Strength in between her teeth like cement. Her eyes were dripping candles, losing themselves to the fire, but not knowing any other way to live. By the mountain, we talked about swimming, but we didn't. Instead, we held our fear in a plastic bag in front of us and knew we were killing the planet. Our hearts cracked themselves into cream eggs as an offering to the mountain. She saw and raised one speckled eyebrow. If you've never been made an offering before, a clean-cut, fragile cream egg full of Brighton in 2015 must seem somehow sufficient. By the time a child is 4, they will have walked the equivalent distance from London to New York. We were somewhere between our 4th and 5th trip now, but no one seemed to have mentioned this landmark, the sick mum landmark, the edgeless trauma plastic bag of fear. 2 years on now, we post each other printed pictures of that trip. Our faces are alive and sculpted, beaming with a youngness that isn't quite youth. We were surviving. We did. We are, and now, still now, continents away from the lay-by and the hire car. I'm not even sure if the mountain can believe it.
Give it up for Madeleine Akalia. And now please welcome to the stage, Makeda.
I climbed his tower for you, the man in red. There was no stairs, no ladders, no ropes, but I climbed to the top for you, I did. Look, you can see the scars on my hand. I heard the man in red owns a magic horn that if you blow, you can make two oceans mix, and I was just trying to make our ocean mix with theirs. You know what I mean? You wouldn't understand if you're rich. It's a poor people thing. It's a I have all I need to survive, but I want more kind of thing. I mean, did you see the man in a Burberry suit? He walked past a man that called home to concrete stones and he didn't give him a penny. I heard he counted £5.79 in his hat, then went to the shop and spent £5.79 on sleeping pills and came back, and he was just one of many trying to sleep the cold away. I mean, did you hear about the kids playing outside the man in red's tower? They didn't have shoes or clothes or food, but the man in red just couldn't devour that they were happy. Why were they happy? The man in red doesn't like happy children. The man in red launched bombs and killed them. And do you know what he did? Do you know what he did when the children here lost their home to a fire? Nothing. Because the children are lower and the man in red is higher. So I climbed his tower for you, the man in red. I filled my palms with my father's sweat in banknotes and dirty coins and handed it all over to him and asked in exchange for the magic corn he cradled to his chest like a spare shoulder limb. And I took off my gold, my earrings, my chain, my nose ring, and I took every jewel my mother owns and showered him with the garments of my baguette's bones, and I walked. I worked. I worked 100 years and 100 more and 100 years and 100 more and 100 years and 100 more, and I climbed his tower, I did, and I did not wipe the blood clean from my palms. I wanted the man in red to see what he was made of, and I threw 700 years of wealth at him to see how he dare not now accept this trade of freedom that I seek from him and his tower. But the man in red curved his lips and gave a little scoff and said, "Is this all you bring? With not enough to lay even a brick in my tower, is this how you impress a king?" He laughed. "You've worked 100 years and 100 more. Alas, I only wish you knew. This magic horn is the prize of a dirty game that's not meant for people like you. Go," he said, "go and bring me something more." And my heart sank as I thought, perhaps it's just not meant to be. Perhaps freedom is a word that was never made to cross the sea. "Bring me something more," he said, "but what more did I have? If a puppet on strings is all I am, then what choice do I even have?" But then I saw 100 fish synchronized in motion as a school, swimming in shielded rings with unanimity of unity as their tool, and I realized what I'd been missing. So I took to the tower once more, but this time with an army of believers carrying axes and swords in their veins, prepared to make two oceans in body, ready to break free from the chains. And we didn't climb his tower, the man in red. This time we bled for ourselves as our bare hands slashed each and every brick out from the torso of the rotten tower. We watched it crumble to our truths as we stitched our skins back to one, and it was in oneness we found power. And when the crooked red man fell to the shreds of his broken empire, we looked at him and said, "Look what we bring to you. 100 people and 100 more and 100 people and 100 more and 100 people and 100 more. So let us now see how you do not give to us your magic horn."
Give it up for Makeda. And now, please welcome to the stage, Reese Lyons.
I am a magnet for mosquito bites. They follow me wherever I go, on holidays and on the plane ride home. I always found it strange how my family were never bitten to the same extent that I had been. How we could be made from the same blood, yet mosquitoes seemed to be selective in who they wanted to touch. Bloodsuckers, I would call them. They would come out at night and caress my body with their kisses, leaving love bites. I could always sense when they were near because of the faint buzzing noise that I could hear. I would try to catch them seconds before their jumps, but I would miss. I would try to swat at them, but still they would persist, and no matter how repellent I tried to force myself to become, it was too late. I had already been bit. Some bites felt like catcalls on the street at night. Others felt like intrusive questions, answers, jokes, assumptions and presumptions, insults that insisted that they were really compliments. But soon these bites began to itch, and I tried to ignore it. But what started out as a polite scratch soon turned into clawing nails down my back, bleeding open wounds that would scar. People would tell me not to overreact, that my scars would heal. But these people had only been bit once or twice, but to me it was happening every single night. Until one night, I allowed myself to be bitten. I stopped fighting. But that buzzing would still remain ringing in my ear until one day it became clear that what hurt more than the bites were the people who refused to acknowledge them. What hurt more than the mosquitoes were the blood-sucking humans sat in restaurants, gulping down red wine straight from the bottle. But when they see their waiter or waitress being sexually harassed or racially abused, they say nothing. Like a mosquito bite, they bite down on their tongue at the expense of other people's humanities. Because we're taught about the deadly and dangerous diseases that mosquitoes carry, but no one tells you that it's a strain of human that can kill you. That complacency is today's society's biggest bloodsucker. And it has left people like me with mosquitoes hovering and lingering over my decaying and dying body, with no more blood left to give. Thanks.
Give it up for Reese Lyons. And now please welcome to the stage, Courtney Conrad.
Nana used to joke and say Papa did love him cigarettes more than she. Surprise. Papa comes home, tells Nana that he has been signed up for a fight without his consent. He enters the ring, an amateur, while his opponent, Cancer, is a reigning champion. No amount of training could prepare him for arms turn deflated balloons, handing out feeble hugs, or lungs turn punching bags, leaving behind winded I love yous. I watched as Papa became mortal enemies with each object that gifted him his reflection. Watched as doctors turned spectators, reeling off odds, and Nana and Papa in constant battle over when he should tap out. You see, to Nana, her playbook filled with Bible scriptures and prayers would guarantee him a win, but Papa knew God wasn't always the fairest referee. Most days, it felt like our faith entered the ring to take a beating also. It was round four. Round four when the bell rang to declare the end of the match. Nano stood over Papa, stroking his hair, singing his favorite 60s tunes. The room fell silent for an eulogizing moment. Everyone rummaging through their memory banks, trying to exchange their favorite highlights, like how Papa would accumulate a stock of ham sandwiches after a cheeky game of poker with the patients next door, or how he would play dead, then fart and say gotcha just before Nana would begin to cry. It wasn't my first time sitting front row at a match like this. I come from a long line of fighters, but Cancer, I do have a couple questions for you. As you pulled up a chair, prepared yourself for a buffet, who told you my relatives were here to be devoured by you? Do you ever get full? Is that what we call remission? Does traces of you coming back mean that you are starving again? Did you use our tears to wash down all that you have devoured? When will you stop challenging my family?
Give it up for Courtney Conrad. And now please welcome to the stage, Chloe Florence.
Isn't it funny how my whole tongue spits regional immigration? I am invisible. You think you know me, think you see me, but you don't. I am a thieving chameleon, contradicting poverty with the appearance of privilege. You either see me as inconveniencing your journey or gentrifying your city. You regurgitated any humanity I had left with the violence of fear. You think you know me, think you see me, but you don't. You look right through me. My skin never quite fit the mold. I am an unwritten joke. I masqueraded through Dalston like a first-class hipster backpack with the lingering smell of shit, like a I've just come back from a festival kind of prick. I guess it's fashionable to look homeless at the moment. Homeless charities begging me for money in the street. They don't see there is no home inside this decaying body. Don't belong to any corner of this country. You think you see me, think you know me, but you don't. I'm partying, popping free pills to reach the pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, like there's no tomorrow, because there isn't. But I'll be there, drowning in Instagram posts and Snapchats. They don't tell the truth. They just tell you what we both want to hear, because if we took away the mirror, I'd just be a bin bag full of bones this city can't get rid of. You wouldn't want to know what lies beneath. Neither did I. And that's what fucked you up. Waking up in someone else's bed doesn't feel so strange when you're the stranger. It's a fucking miracle. That morning fragrance of sweaty armpits and ganja takes me home. Drug paraphernalia and ashtrays around me while I sleep is my comfort zone. Thoughts smash over my face in quick succession like rockets, and I think about how I got here and why my darkest dreams are my safest sanctuary, and why these sweaty bed sheets mean more to me than my reality, like a fish to water. They have comforted me into an acrobatic ability to keep on living. You think you know me, think you see me, but you don't. My opaque face was only pretty enough with makeup on, but this illusion was the only thing that kept you listening to my words, and without this thick layer of chemicals, I was just a tramp. You know, when I was homeless, no roof over my head, kind of homeless, I would steal makeup from Superdrug, act like a customer, apply the makeup to my face like war paint, so that I didn't look homeless, make myself invisible to your ignorance, because no one respects the strongest survivors society has to offer. And as I laid here in a sticky puddle of mine and her cum, I know this isn't where I belong, but there is nowhere else for me to belong, so I roll a zoo, I light it up and watch the sunrise over demolished council estates and pray to a God I don't believe in for a safe place for me to exist. There has to be more for me in life than this. Doesn't there? Doesn't there? But there doesn't, because drugs are the only home this country has ever given me to go back to. But I guess ignorance is bliss. Isn't it?
Give it up for Chloe Florence. And now please welcome to the stage, Roper.
He's a feminist. Hashtag Black Lives Matter, and he knows Me Too started with a black woman. He also calls her Queen Bee, mentions how he just knows you'll be a beast at sucking dick. His favorite drink is chocolate milk. His favorite band is the Arctic Monkeys. He's currently in university studying mechanical engineering. He's never slept with a black woman before. His favorite movie is Pulp Fiction, but he just loves anything Tarantino. With every kiss he places on your lips, he groans publicly. He can't help himself. You taste sweet, but it's that bitter dark chocolate kick that really does it. Maybe I have jungle fever, he adds innocently. The last time you fucked, he said, bet you want this white dick, you stupid black bitch. But swears you heard him wrong. Promises he never said that, but swears he'll never say it again. He reminds you that he's woke as fuck, recites Malcolm X to remind you he's on your side. He loves you for you, remember? Tenderly, he strokes your skin, promises to introduce you to his family, says he's not ready to introduce you to his friends yet. He loves you for you, remember? This white boy filling your space with white noise works just like a lullaby. Hypnotized, he leads you to an altar. You are an object worthy enough to be sacrificed to the gods. But first, he holds a cup to your cheek, collecting your tears. He can't help himself. He just loves chocolate milk. Thank you.
Give it up for Roper. And now please welcome to the stage Fatima Zahra.
You ever have one of those poems you can't stop writing and it keeps cropping up in all your stories and text messages? This is one of them, and it's called The Things I Do Know. At 4 years, I knew but a few things. I knew smiling could bring you your 4th bottle of Coke, a midnight ice cream trip, and a brand new box full of Band-Aids because you wanted to see what a mummy feels like. I knew grandparents were the harbingers of every secret wish. I knew the 7-digit one-way ticket to my granddad's voice. I knew love had to be the way Granddad looks at me like I'm the starry sky, even when last night I'd painted his toenails bubblegum pink, not once, but twice. I knew it had to be that, the way I call him up and ask, "You want to see what I just drew?" And I hear a yeah, a sure. I don't hear the creak of his spine that's held him captive for a week. He climbs his battered old pickup truck, drives 20 minutes across town, climbs 2 flights of stairs, only to come up and see a squiggly line concoction only 5-year-olds know to make. He looks at the picture and then at me, like I'm the next best thing. At 5, I figured Superman may just have my nose and gray fluff for hair. Superman simply loves, with all of his beating dysfunctional heart, with all the ash-filled crevices of his lungs. Superman always shows up until he doesn't. I am 20 now. Here are things I do know. Goodbyes are still the razor wire fence I am afraid to cross. Heaven is a postcode that does not reply to fan mail. Death is a rogue guest. He gate crashes breakfast, walks out with Granddad, doesn't let him finish his morning paper, toast, or tea, and we are still on the lookout. I know now I was baptized in love by a man with kind eyes and sturdy hands, and I don't settle for any less.
Give it up for Fatima Zahra. And now please welcome to the stage Beth Calverley.
Tiger, you came to tea delivered in a doorbell that filled our forks with paws. Mummy got the door. You dodged her legs, a confident guest. I scooped to my chest like a promise. Mummy seemed worried. She'd heard of tigers eating homes whole from households. But she was a fresh track back from hospital, hunted by hurt. Legs shakes like to prey upon. Weak-winged healing, tumble of bird. So tiger, we fed you. At tea times you sipped from my saucer, ate from my plate, craving a taste. Pink-licked milk from fingers, grateful to trade for a friend. At last, to tame school's wildness, a purring I packed under jumpers, muffled from eyes, lunch never lonely with you by my side. In bartered bites your lies enlarged to fill our mirror, gobbled the girl in the glass, starved of pride for pilfered dinners, patterns grown for stealth now, hard to hide. At last, the ground hinged its jaws to size me up for your feast. Face-tasted floor, no more than a morsel, spat from blackness, mauled to exhaustion. Mummy's roar comes forceful and foreign. She takes us to a tamer famed for caging tigers in rooms with strange clocks. He says, the trick to survive is to try and describe how it arrived when tea times turn tables into fables. Time shifts its hands in our laps, paws at my throat, your tail a pendulum ticking forbidding. I ache to stop. Just hold my tongue till you dissolve me. But Mummy is right to worry. My body a house-gulped hollow, ghost-riddled home, poem of bones. So I spill the tale of the tigress poached in the night. My spasm-grabbed mother, her body a hand I held with my glance, her face a prayer in my palms. In spite of shaking came her calm goodbye. A straight line that drew my pledge to care for her cub, my cuddle of brother, close in his feather den, stalking dreams. He didn't hear the doorbell that swallowed her whole, honed medical tones, jungle of footsteps, pounce of headlights. All these knives found our dead night. I watched, long after she'd gone, wide open, the promise scooped tight to my chest, letting this striped arrival bite at my lips.
Give it up for Beth Calverley. And now please welcome to the stage, Katie Greenall.
It's 7:22. I know I'm early. We're supposed to meet at 7:30, but I'm scared in case I miss you. I'm a mess. I can't stop pulling up my dress, and I'm just trying to look my best, like in the photos that I sent you. I'm sipping on a drink that is far too strong and expensive. Don't get me wrong, it's good for the nerves, but straight lines are starting to turn into curves, and I think maybe I should stop. I'm excited to see you again. I just hope that this night ends like the others. It's 7:24, I take a sip, just one more, and then I pick up my phone. 5 inches of plastic, of metal and glass, my spyglass into thousands of lives, only to get distracted by something more tangible than my most recent profile picture's series of likes. I remember how I can't help but stare at you. My eyes, they're drawn to you, your head on my pillow as the light from the window makes you even more beautiful than in the dreams I've already forgotten. Your warmth permeates more than my skin. It's waking up things within me that I didn't know existed. I've missed this, having someone to love. But as the butterflies start to soar or the other insecurities start to pour into, it's 7:26 and now I've started something even my drink can't fix. I'm sinking into my brain's very own quicksand. I can't understand what she sees in me. When I look in the mirror, I don't like what I see. There's this thing staring back at me. It is ugly and struggling. But on good days, it's funny and functioning, but there is no way that you can love that in the same way that I love you. It's already hurting despite being perfect because I know I will never be enough for you. 7:28. Update, my glass is nearly empty. But my mind is not. My heart is racing and it's chasing negativity into every part of my body. I don't want to taint you with my madness and sadness. You're too beautiful to be dragged into my depravity. I'd rather have you in my mind than in reality because you can't hurt me there. So let's stop while it's perfect. 7:29, no more wine. Instead, I'm mourning you, mourning us, mourning those mornings where I just lay there and stared at you because you were the most beautiful thing I have ever seen. And that memory is all that I need, so I get up and leave. 7:30, and the lipstick stained glass of Chablis is the only thing left for you to see.
Give it up for Katie Greenall. And now please welcome to the stage, Shifa Kalfawi.
This one is called Love Island. It's not what you think. So I wrote this during the refugee crisis last year, just to give clear context. Love Island. Welcome to our city. In these streets are poor underprivileged kids with rich literature who can't afford to be taught because fear is more expensive than money. This is where profit makes orphans, where royalty lacks loyalty to its community, and be careful of how many friends you make, because the people you say hi to at sunrise are corpses by sunset. And having relatives is just as worse, because one day, if you're lucky, you'll have to sacrifice family for safety. Every death is priceless, but it's outside the West that we're sightless. Crisis brings out the villains and the righteous. The pregnant presidents giving birth to new wars. They serve the citizens, accept the intelligent, award the ignorant and inner supremacists, and they keep shooting like we're bullet repellent. I'm tired of running and being stalked by death. My ribcage is popping out, screaming louder than my voice, yelling, open the gates and take my child instead. I can feel the snipers aiming at his head. Take him in so he's exposed to less. 7-month-old babies getting shot on the leg. Since when was an infant's laughter a threat? Less toddlers being strapped up with needles and wrestled down for treatment with hardly any equipment. Less wounded women delivering on roads because hospitals aren't any safer. We claim we know about Love Island, but where's the love for the frightened, the newly arrived? We're too busy floating on the surface to notice those drowning until they're floating on the surface. What do we know about Love Island? That unless you're a contestant, you won't get attention. Island Kurdi. It's so sad that you're known as the boy who got washed up on sea. It's a shame you only see the end result and fail to recognize the moments just before he died. How did he even get there? Was it by the pushing hands of a scared mother, or was he an orphan on board a boat carrying 52 people that was meant for 15? What were his last words like? Were they, "Mummy, help me," or "Mummy, I'm coming"? What was his last breath like? Were they quick breaths yelling for help, or was it a sigh of failure that we've murdered the future? We are all inner refugees where we do our best to escape our inner fears, our inner pain for better health. So what makes us any different? We are everything they used to be. How long will we allow ourselves to be lied to when we can smell Hitler's breath of those who speak Gandhi's words, of those who find blood easier to slaughter unless it's their daughters? But who am I to speak? I can't communicate with someone whose language runs in currency unless cash machines spoke truthfully, then I'd get it to print out your receipt. All these dirty deeds you've done for a nasty slice of wealth of the plate you share with your accomplices, laughing as you compare your receipts of deeds. But one day, you will turn on each other, because someone sitting on the other side of the table's got more numbers than you. Thank you.
Give it up for Shifa Kalfawi. And now welcome to the stage our final poet, Ellen Renton.
Before I begin, there is a Scottish word in this poem which you might not all be familiar with, and that is plúc, which means like spot or zit. I'm sat across from you with a face on that my brother taught me. He wears it when he has eyes on a ripe plúc in my hairline, each of his pupils a VHS that needs rewinding. Sorry, it's just, you've got a bit. I can't tell if it's a loose thread of foam from your coffee or a dreg of something else you've done today. Yeah, it's just above your lip. Maybe a fleck of toothpaste that went unwiped in hurry. Other side, no, other side. It would be so much easier to touch. Up a bit, I'm not sure what it is actually, but you know when you just get a wee bit of, it's just a wee bit of something, up a bit, up a bit. When this face makes Play-Doh of my brother's features, I know he's about to reach out and burst. Oh, you've gone too far now. Down a bit and to the left, very slightly to the left. But this table seems miles wide. My arms have been clumsy for as long as I've had them, and I'm scared to topple cup, jug, the balance of the room, the salt and pepper. Sorry, my left, so you're right, not your left, that's what I meant. Even friends whose talk has taken them everywhere haven't made their minds up about this touch, and we have not yet made our minds up about whether we are friends or not. Yes, you've got it, nearly got it. Give it another wipe. And again. Still there. I've forgotten what we were talking about. Time has split into before and after the bit. There you go, you've got it. It's gone, it's gone. It's gone. Thank you very much.
Give it up for the brilliant Ellen Renton. And give it up for all 13 of our Roundhouse Poetry Slam finalists. So, now what happens is that the whole Roundhouse team collect all the scores from the judges. They need about 6-7 minutes to do that. So I'm going to read a piece, and then you're going to hear from Saul Williams. It was going to be Saul and then me, and I was like, I'm not following Saul Williams. I'm not a mug. So I'm going to read something that I've never, ever read before. I got asked to write a short piece about Englishness and shame, which might make our friend over there very happy. But this isn't that sort of piece. But yeah, it's a story that, yeah, I've never read it before. I'd love some advice. It's called All the Rage. Thank you. It's 1 a.m. and this girl's come up to me and she's just really bubbly. Like, she's actually legit bubbly. That's not me kindly calling her fat. And she's wearing this raincoat, but the sleeves are all sequined. And as a homosexual man, naturally, I've noticed. And she asks me, stuttering, how much junk food did you just eat, chubby cheeks? We're in my local McDonald's, and I'm laughing. And I'm a bit pissed, and I think she might be too. And I watch her as she's going around all the tables asking for everyone's Monopoly stickers. If you don't know what McDonald's Monopoly stickers are, then that means that you're very posh. Or vegan. Or both. Probably both. But these stickers are all the rage, and I've already peeled my chicken deli of the day, grilled, not crispy, I'm on a diet, stickers. And I've got the Old Kent Road, Stansted Airport, and a free apple pie, so it's of no fucking use to anyone. And this girl, she goes around getting everyone's stickers, she's asking, and she's really bubbly. And then I notice an older woman sat down also with like a bundle of stickers on her table, which reminds me of my nan, when she used to collect coupons at a Take a Break magazine. Anyone? Yeah? She used to collect coupons, even the tampon ones, despite being decades post-menopause. And the girl notices the older woman's stickers, and when the older woman goes up to get napkins, this girl shoots in and swiftly steals them. And the older woman shouts back, hey, they're my stickers, you can't just steal them. And the girl says, no, they ain't, you just left them on the table like rubbish. And the older woman says, no, they are mine, give them back. And the girl says, fuck you. Fuck you. I bet you're fucking homeless, aren't you? That's why you want these fucking stickers. And the older woman sits back down and just eats a 99p cheeseburger in the zone, blanking out the shouts of, I bet you're fucking homeless, that's so embarrassing. And so a few of us sit with the older woman. We have no clue what to do while security asks the girl with the sequin sleeves to leave, but he can't actually touch her, just edges her out the door. I finish my deli of the day, go home and think, how did that older woman sit there like steel, I didn't know what to do because I didn't want to make the situation worse, and I also didn't want to be one of those sort of liberal middle-class glory seekers. You know, the type of guy that went to Goldsmiths and tweets every time he's called out sexism on the tube. 2 weeks later, I'm on the night tube, coming back home from a gay hip-hop night in East London. I know, right? And as I come out, I'm walking up the high street, and this person is walking towards me, and as we cross paths, they stop and raise their arms. I take out my earphones. "Excuse me, I need change for a hostel tonight. Do you have..." She has sequins on her sleeves. It's raining. I say, "I'm sorry, I've actually got no change, but..." And as I go to say more, she walks off, asking a big crowd behind. And so I walk off. Get home and think, how the fuck did we get to this? How is this still happening? I have 2 bedrooms in 2 homes, one in Watford that contains my mum and all the shit that I hoard, and one in London that I can afford because of a kind bloke in his 60s who lets me lodge for cheaper than a private landlord. He props his bedroom open with a Monopoly board. Monopoly is a game where players buy up land and develop it with houses and hotels. The aim is to drive competitors into bankruptcy. Money can be gained or lost through rent or picking up chances, and players can end up in jail. The game was originally intended as an educational tool to illustrate the negative aspects of concentrating land in private monopolies, hoping to demonstrate that an economy which rewards wealth creation is better than one in which monopolists work under few constraints. But according to the Computer World UK 1999 forum, virtually no one plays the game by the rules that were written. Thank you. Thanks. Right, we're going to now bring on the man who is headlining the whole of the Last Word Festival. Just going to go straight for pirate radio. Sheet yourselves, go mad for the wonderful, amazing Saul Williams!
Citizens, children of the night, bearers of the day, torch scorched and burn, burn not, the dam is broken, the curse is fled. Once muddied and still the river runs, red. All those ships that never sailed, the ones with their sea cocks open that lied scuttled in their stalls, today I bring them back, huge and intransitory, and let them sail forever, forever. There were currents uncurrent, the wind cannot serve as truth's currency. Currently moon-marked and sun-sparked, unmarked bills, will I am certain I speak a new language, as is always the first sign of a new age. I'd begun to believe my blackened toenails were on path to decay, when in truth they had begun the gradual process of crystallization. I am he who walks on wind-scorned feet with toenails of amethyst and rose quartz, my path now crystal clear. I am come to tell you she is here. It is not written. No penmanship was ever cargoed with her character. Note, books are carefully folded forests, void of autumn, bound from the sun. Likewise, she made a residence on the outskirts of history, on the dark side of the moon, where the searchlight of the sun could not spot her nor rot her, the seed of forbidden fruit. Every tree has a hidden root, yet she has come to light the swelling patchwork of vibrant dreams, and to think of the girlfriend I was tempted to break up with because she slept too much. I now know. They nurtured her there. They slept in packs, dreamt in cycles, nursed her in shifts, and became her on rotation. Unnamed every time she was named so that she would not be known even unto herself. Undressed every time she was dressed that she would not be recognized as anyone other than herself. They blindfolded her and spun her in circles, as she would find her way here by other means in her intuition, and she is come. I am a simple, disoriented man in her presence. I wear my loincloth over my eyes and ejaculate too soon. Forgive me, Father, if I have sinned. I prayed to you and cupped the wind, and in doing so, barred her entry into a century, 100 years of solitude. I will now pray with my hands outstretched, with these psalms etched into my palms. Most beloved, I'm certain of nothing more than your existence. 1,000 ants clung under a log may find themselves exposed to my childlike search for you. My collie, flower, I'm eternally destroyed by your love. No longer am I eligible for any worker's pension. My friends laugh at me and talk behind my back. They say that you've changed me, and I am. I'm like a survivor of the flood, walking through the streets drenched with God, surprised all the drowned victims are still walking and talking. Maybe there's hope. I rush to each victim's side, sucking what I can of you out of your various incarnations, pumping their stomachs and filling them. To touch them is to touch you. To kiss them is to kiss you, my friends. Love is an art form slightly removed from its element. And when they ask, well, what does this mean? I respond, I've made it up, but it shall be from now on. From now on, cities will be built on one side of the street so that soothsayers will have wilderness to wander and lovers space enough to contemplate a kiss. She kisses if she alone could forge a signature of the sun. I closed my eyes, although I never knew the difference. I stood before a brighter light at lesser distance, and then a feeling, almost as if nothing were ever bound to be repeated ever again, as if history had been as masterfully created as the Great Pyramids, and to reconstruct or relive any given moment would have to stem from an understanding of how the pyramids were built from the top down. And if one could understand such majesty, one would also understand that pyramids were first made of flesh, and that kisses are portals. Our sacred breath shifting through hidden corrals and passageways. I will find my way to eternity within you. When I can feel you breathing into me, I, like a stone gargoyle atop some crumbling building, spring to life, resuscitated angel. I sweep through city streets, my wings outstretched, making mothers clutch their young. And do you remember, dear ones, or has history forsaken you? There are mysteries coded in song, chants sung round fires, all incantations calling forth this day. On this day, the drunks vomit in unison. The last night they drank from different cups. Children laugh and play, introducing their parents' invisible friends. A country girl smiles, and two trees blossom out of season. Sea suns awaken, our mother has returned away from uncertainty, once title. Twice born of wooden ships, thrice formed to mother's hips. Mother's ships grace two lips, a poet's garden. 2 for 5, the going fast, the future's bargain. That change, I heard my name, the river's parting. Hurry up, things bury up, the sun is darkened. Rivers like oceans, oceans like answers, questions in cloud forms, raindrops and stanzas. To be or not to see or not to. She had eyes like two turntables, mixture in between. My dreams and reality blend in ancient themes. The basis of Isis cross-faded to Ankh. The beat drops like a cliff overlooking my heart. 6,000 feet above sea level. 3,300 bodies disassembled. The head bones connected to the cockpit, knee-jerk, ass backwards, dancing slaves in a mosh pit. Punk rock of Gibraltar, roll out, nothing's new. Mo blood eyes and Mohawk, only this time it's you. And you never loved her for what she possessed. You powdered her face and came on her headdress. Oil, slick feathers, putrid stench, waterbed. Mother Nature's a whore, said the shotgun to the head. And it smelt like teen spirit, angst-driven, insecure. A country in puberty, a country at war.
Give it up for the incredible Saul Williams. I hope you guys have got tickets for Saturday night, because it's going to be top notch. Right, so the points have all been counted. Everybody knows what's going on. I actually don't know. This year we are going to go over for the... where is he? I can't see. Oh, he's probably behind the stage. This year the winner is going to be announced by the CEO and artistic director of the Roundhouse. He's sort of like the father of us all. Can we please have a massive round of applause for the brilliant Marcus Davey?
this is definitely the worst bit of the night, isn't it? Because they're all so amazing. Please give another round of applause to these incredible poets. There are a huge number of thank yous that need to be given, but I think Jackie here, part of the, absolutely made the evening. Thank you. I don't know how you do it, but thank you very much to these incredible judges. I mean, you're all extraordinary and all wonderful, and you've made some very difficult choices, but we do have 3 winners. Please thank our incredible judges. I don't know if you like me, but don't we love Jack Rooke? Can you imagine what's going to happen to the world if he does this a 4th time? Could be Brexit next time. Anyway, I'll move on. That was the second mention of the evening. Huge thank you to many of you who are our supporters and donors who make this event possible, who make actually the Roundhouse possible. From the Arts Council to our producing circle, our chairman circle, and all the other trusts and foundations and corporate sponsors who, without your support, really the Roundhouse would not exist. So a huge thank you to you. Thank you. Yes, the lights are on. Just below your feet, for those who don't know, is Europe's most important creative centre for 11 to 25-year-olds. In the last year, we worked with 5,000 11 to 25-year-olds. Our ambition, which was announced on Monday with the Secretary of State here, is to double that number within the next 5 years. Okay. I agree. It'd be fantastic. What we've heard tonight, though, is about stories. It's about humanity. It's about individuals reflecting our society. 10,000 may be a number, an incredible number, but every single one of them is an individual, like these incredible poets that we have on our stage tonight. Aren't we lucky to have them here? Shouldn't every venue everywhere in the world be hearing these incredible voices every night of the year? And I, you know, it is about this extraordinary space. It is about the power of these incredible young people powering the energy of this organization. It is about the young trustees on our board of trustees. It's about the youth advisory board. It's about the audiences. But at the end of the day, it's about people, about the stories, about how they reflect society, how we learn about our society, how we can change our society. So they've given you something this evening, and it is your responsibility to take what you've learned and move it on. There are some very special thank yous. There are 2 people who I'm delighted are in the room tonight, who have made the Poetry Slam and much of our work with spoken word possible. Please thank Colin and Helen David. I'll get kicked for that later. So, you want to know who's won, don't you? Oh, where is it? And that is the point, isn't it? That every one of these people up on the stage here tonight has won in many ways, and they will go on to incredible things in their lives. I'm looking out and I can see some of the poets in here who performed on this stage in previous years. Did you know that Jimi Hendrix performed on this stage? Did you know that Patti Smith gave her first performance in this country on the stage, as did the Ramones? Did you know the punk movement really started here? Did you know that the psychedelia movement started with Pink Floyd giving their first ever concert on this stage? Did you know that grime movement really had a lift through the performance that happened on this stage? Did you know what's going to happen next? Did you know that the first prize is £500? Yeah, you knew all that. But what you don't know is who's won. And actually, I'm the only person who does, because the judges don't know actually, really don't know who've won. 200 applications came in this year, not only in London, but Gloucester as well. This is the bit where you're saying, just tell us who's won. So, in third prize, please congratulate, have we got some prizes here? Oh, well, we got runner-up and first prize, we got prizes, but the third prize is really important, of course, as well. Please congratulate Fatima. I think I've got a bit of a hummus-loving heart, don't you? Okay, in second prize, please congratulate Courtney. And I'm delighted to announce the winner of the 2018 Roundhouse Poetry Slam final. Please congratulate Rakaya. But, of course, a huge congratulations to all of you, and thank you very much from everyone at the Roundhouse.
Marcus has just said that there's a
Back to
pass.
Jack Rooke.
Great. Thank you. Give it up for Marcus Davey! So that has been the Roundhouse Poetry Slam Final 2018. Thank you so much for coming. I've got a few thank yous. Can we please thank our wonderful judges, Cecilia Knapp, Yomi Sode, and Saul Williams. Thank the brilliant Colin and Helen David. Thank you so much. My the ant to my deck, although maybe that's not appropriate. Jackie Beckford. Wishing you love, Ant. Also, the unsung heroes of the Poetry Slam, who are like literal like mini Carol Vordermans. Can we give it up for our counters, please? Our point scorers, wherever they are. And last but not least, let's give it up for all 13 poets. You saw Honey, Madeleine, Makeda, Reese, Courtney, Chloe, Roper, Fatima, Beth, Katie, Shifa, Ellen, and our Roundhouse Poetry Slam winner. Stand up one more time for Rakaya Fatuga! You got 500 quid coming as well. I'll write you a check. I've been Jack Rooke. Have a wonderful evening. Good night. Thank you.